So I guess my first question is, why run for Senate in the first place? What do you bring to the table that's going to set you apart from your opponents?
Oh, quite a bit. I mean, my opponents are very, very far left Democrats who've been a rubber stamp for Joe Biden. And the people of Arizona are suffering because of it. We've got a wide open border. It wasn't that way when President Trump was in office. We had a secure border. President Trump immediately secured that border, and then Biden came in and pulled back all of the border plan that President Trump had. And unfortunately, the two people running on the Democrat ticket and one who's now calling herself an independent, they've been a rubber stamp for Joe Biden's wide open border policy. They refuse to fund the wall. They want to give asylum, grant asylum to everybody coming across, and amnesty. And this is not what the American people want. They've been behind the disastrous energy policy, which has made our gas prices go through the roof and our energy prices go through the roof. And frankly, what they've done when it comes to energy has made us less secure and hurt us on a national security level. And then not to mention, our safety is at risk because of what they're doing in Iran. We saw the horrible attack on Israel, and now we know that thousands, millions of people are pouring across our border. Many of them mean harm for Americans, and Ruben Gallego and Kyrsten Sinema have been all for that. They haven't done a darn thing since they've been in office to secure our border. They haven't done a darn thing to stop Joe Biden's disastrous policies except to rubber stamp them and make our lives miserable. So I'm going to go to the Senate and help reverse that. We're going to put America first. We're going to put Arizona first and turn this nightmare around.
Well, Kari, something that definitely sets you apart is you drum up a lot of media attention. And during your campaign, when you ran for governor, you disavowed the results of the 2022 Arizona gubernatorial race, citing election fraud. So why run for office again in the same state that you say upheld sham election results?
Well, we have really problematic elections here, and I want everybody out there to know that I'm continuing along with my court cases. We want to have secure elections. This is not a Republican issue. It's a Republican, a Democrat, an independent. It's an American issue. And so I vow to continue forward with my cases. We saw what happened on Election Day. It was a disaster when 60% of the polling locations didn't work. The machines weren't working and the wrong ballots were printed. And we just can't run elections that way. But I'm going to continue to push forward with those cases, and hopefully we'll see something change in our elections before then. But I know what's going to happen this next election. People are so fed up with what's happening. They are going to show up in droves to vote, and they're going to vote for a huge change by bringing President Trump back and bringing America First Republicans back to replace these radical leftists who are, frankly, destroying our country. So I think there's going to be such a crush of people showing up to vote that it's going to be hard for them to monkey around and try to change the outcome.
Well, let's get back to that change that you want to implement. Let's get back to policy. So the New York Times just published an article this morning commenting on your opposition of a federal abortion ban, a step away from the party line and policies that you've advocated for in the past. Why make this a state's issue?
Well, for a long time, we had asked for Roe v. Wade, which was unconstitutional, to be overturned and return to the states the ability to decide what their abortion laws would be. And now that has happened, and states are deciding that. Look, I think the decision to have an abortion comes from the heart. I really do. You look at a place like Hungary, they never changed a single abortion law, and they cut the number of abortions in half. And you know how they did that? They did that by supporting women, supporting families, and making it possible for women to believe that they can raise a baby. Right now, the economy is in peril. It's in shambles right now. And to think that a woman would walk into an abortion clinic because in Joe Biden's economy, she believes she can't afford her baby, that's not the right reason to have an abortion, and we need to help these women. And I think the Republican Party needs to do a better job of supporting women and babies and encouraging families. And I think we could do that with policies like baby bonuses and also paid family leave, so that when a family has a baby, they can afford to take the time off that's necessary to help have that baby and get that baby off to a good start. I think the Republican Party needs to be the party of women, children, and families.
But when it comes to your goal, obviously you want to win this election. Are you concerned that this could isolate more traditional conservative voters or anti-abortion groups altogether?
I'm personally very much pro-life. I would never choose to have an abortion. But there are states that have 15-week abortion laws right now, and we need to work to make sure that when a woman goes into an abortion clinic, that she's not just given one choice. You know, the left likes to say they're pro-choice. They're actually no choice. They give a woman one choice, and what we need to do is tell a woman there are more choices out there. We can help you. There's help, financial help, if you don't think you can afford to have a baby. There's help out there if you want to have your baby but don't think you can take care of it. There's adoptive people, adoptive families and services out there that will help you. So we need to give more real good choices, not just the worst choice.
So
And
Kari,
by the way, I don't think it will hurt me because I'm running against two people who are for abortion right up until 9 months of and beyond. They're right up until birth and beyond for abortion. And that's how far the left has gone. They are willing to take the life of a baby right before birth, even after birth. And that's what they're pushing for, by the way.
well, Kari, we have one more topic that I want to get to today. Turning to the ongoing conflict in the Middle East, what support should the U.S. be offering to Israel in this moment right now?
Israel is our closest ally and one of our closest allies. And what we should be doing is not helping to fund Hamas and these terrorist groups, which is exactly what Joe Biden and, frankly, Barack Obama have done for a long time. Under President Trump, he basically took the money away from Iran. Iran has been the one who's actually funding Hamas and Hezbollah. And when Joe Biden came back in, he actually allowed for Iran to continue to make money off selling oil so that they could continue to fund terrorism. We were safe under President Trump. He brought us the historic Abraham Accords. We had peace in the Middle East for the first time in as long as I can remember. And then Joe Biden comes in, pours the ability for money to be pouring into Iran, just recently freed up $6 billion for Iran to fund this terrorist attack. And my opponents, Kirsten Sinema and Ruben Gallego, didn't say squat about it when he freed up that $6 billion, which paid for this latest attack or helped pay for many of the attacks against Israel. Our number one goal has to be to get the American hostages released. We need to demand that Hamas release the hostages. We need to dry up all of the money that Iran has to fund this kind of terror around the globe. And frankly, we need to, in Congress, pass a resolution that condemns anti-Semitic demonstrations around this country. It's horrifying, the anti-Semitism we're seeing right here in America. And we need to vote Joe Biden and these radicals out and get somebody like President Trump back in office who's going to put America first, get us on strong, solid footing on a world stage. Our enemies, these terrorists, should be afraid of America. They look at Joe Biden and they want to take advantage of America. And that's not the proper footing for a superpower like the United States of America.
Well, Kari, as you mentioned, Israel is one of our biggest allies. And I think everyone in America would agree that with our promises to support them, we do have a responsibility to protect them in this moment. But does the U.S. have a responsibility to Palestinian civilians in Gaza who are facing the consequences of Hamas's attacks?
I think Israel has been very clear telling people in Gaza to leave. Egypt should open up and allow these people to come in. Israel has the right and the duty to protect their citizens. And this attack by Hamas was heinous. It was barbaric. Babies were slaughtered. Elderly people were slaughtered. It was an attack on innocence. And Israel has the absolute right to defend itself and defend its citizens.